Hey, what's up guys? Gabe Montgomery here, 10 Horse Monty YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about punching heavy grass, flipping mats, whatever you want to call it. Big line, big rod, big baits, big weights. I've been trying to get some good footage for you guys around here, but the mats are just not happening this year. I was talking to some buddies about it over the last couple months, and it's either got to do with high water fluctuation or the amount of boat traffic. You know, since this the big ick I'm calling is taking over the country, there's been a lot more boats out on the water. That boat traffic has a tendency to just stir those mats up, so a lot of times they can't set up properly. Another thing that's been happening is they'll just start to get going a little bit and the water will rise. We'll have some good rains and water will rise. So regardless, I got some clips I'm going to show you. I got a really good one that I caught the other day. We'll fit this in there somewhere, I'm not sure, but let's get straight to the brass tacks. As far as my equipment, this is a rod that I've been punching with the last couple years. I fished a regional down at Lake Chickamauga, and that is when I purchased this strictly for punching. This is a 7'11" loose custom light rod. It's the LCL MCR. It's actually a cranking rod. It's made for like the big 10XDs and like the Cloud 25, stuff like that, your big hard digging crankbaits. But this is an excellent punching rod. It's got a soft tip. Let me stand back here so I can show you this. It's not too soft, but it's soft enough that it allows you to make accurate flips and pitches in that grass. As far as the reel, this is just a BB1. I prefer a 7-to-1, something a little bit faster, and people are often a little bit hesitant about a high-speed gear ratio in the grass. You don't have to worry about it too much because a lot of times you're moving those fish out with the actual rod. So you're cranking down and then you're pulling, you're cranking down and you're pulling. So the reel speed is not too big of a deal. It's not going to hurt you. You're still going to be able to pull that fish out of the grass. And the thing I like about it is you can get your bait in quick, make another pitch. You know, you cover a lot more water. 50-pound Power Pro braid. I like the moss color. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This is a 7'11" rod, guys. You don't have to have a 7'11". I'm like 6'2", so this rod's pretty good for me. If you're not quite that tall, I would say the shortest I would go is like 7'4", like a 7'4" heavy with a little bit of tip, a 7'4", 7'6", 7'10", 7'11", whatever, somewhere in between there. I think you want just a little bit longer rod, just so you can move that fish out of the grass. You get a lot more leverage with the longer rod, and I think that is important. I wouldn't really be doing it with a 7-foot. I'm sure you could probably do it, but 7'4" on up is what I'm looking for. All right, guys, that was awesome. Let's talk a little bit about weights and fall rate. I'm always using tungsten, okay? When the mats are kind of thin, when they're just getting started, if you can get away with like a 3/4 ounce, I'm definitely, if half ounce, you know, half to 3/4 ounce is what I'm gonna start out with. And as the season progresses and the mat's starting to thick, you gotta move up to, as they start to thicken up, you gotta move up to a 1 ounce. And eventually you're gonna have to go up to 1.5 ounces. And some of you guys that fish, you know, the tidal waters and some of these places that have the hyacinths down in Florida, the Delta, places like that, you guys are probably real familiar with like 2-ounce weights. Around here, we really don't have to get into that. 1.5 ounces. Actually, you know, talking about weight, I fished Pickwick last year for the first time, and I went down there with 1.5 ounces, and I needed 2 ounces. I could not even penetrate that stuff. But start out light and work your way heavier. You want something that will shoot through the mat. You don't really want to have to shake that thing to get it to go through. You want a nice clean entry into that mat. But I'm always using tungsten, guys. Let's talk a little bit about baits that you can use when you're punching. This is a D-bomb, guys. This is a killer bait all around, but it really excels when you're punching. Shout out to John Cruz, he makes some killer baits. This is the Bruiser Flash color. I really like this color in the summer. It's got that kind of that goggle eye look, you know, the darker colors. A lot of times the darker colors really excel in really clear water. The Beaver, nothing fancy here. Similar profile to the D-Bomb, just slightly smaller. This is an excellent bait. Catches a lot of fish. Another bait you can throw that's got the same kind of profile. You know, there's the Bandito bug, you know, the Guggen Squad or whatever. But there's also the structure bug. This is a great bait. This is a Okeechobee Crawl, which is another great color you need to have. Similar profile to the Beaver, just a little bit different action. It's got these the little rage flanges on there, so you got a little bit more of a kick in action. And I mentioned the Beaver, the Kinky Beaver is another one. It's got a lot of action. Another bait that I throw that I've really grown to like is the Man Bear Pig. It's also made by Reaction Innovations. Here's the Beaver, here's the Man Bear Pig. It's kind of got that brush hog profile, just a little bit flatter. But this is a really good bait coming through the mats. Dirty Sanchez. Nice punching fish, man. Look at the mouth on that dude. Raw Godzilla. That's a killer color, guys. Dirty Sanchez. Yum makes the Yo Mama, or the Bad Mama, I'm sorry. This is another good bait. These are, you know, you'll notice these are all really tight, compact baits. That's a good one. It's a really good one right there, guys. One more I'm going to show you. I live right on a highway, if you can't tell. One more I'll show you is the Havoc Pit Boss. And as I'm showing you this, let's talk a little bit about the colors. So this is a beaverish style. I'm sticking to natural colors or the blue. Sometimes this sapphire blue seems to stand out, and a lot of times in really clear water, too much traffic around here. This color right here is a sapphire blue. Sometimes in really clear water, this color excels. If you got a lot of lily pads, cypress trees, and the little dollar pads, and you got grass mats, that kind of stuff, really clear water, this is a color you need to have in your boat. Okeechobee Crawl is another color that you need to have. It's a little bit more subtle. It's got the green pumpkin and it's got this blue on the back. And then natural colors, you know, your watermelon reds and your green pumpkins, your Dirty Sanchez, that kind of stuff. So I'm going with the blues, the black and blues, because it's really dark underneath the mat. Even in clear water, it's completely shaded under there. So sometimes you want something that's darker, that pops out. Depending on where you live, you need to probably have both of them. You'll figure out which one they want to buy. So natural colors and your darker black and blues, June bug, stuff like that. Here's another bait you can pitch in the mats, and it's a little bit trickier. It doesn't come in and out quite as good, but it works equally as well. And this is just a stick worm. This happens to be a Big Bite Baits trick stick, but a Yum Dinger or a Cinco or something, probably not. Cincos are really soft, but a Yum Dinger works really well. This is like a 5 or 6 inch stick bait. Sometimes the fish they've been getting a lot of pressure, so you can change it up, throw something a little bit different at them. Sometimes it gets really tough out there. The fish have been seeing a lot of baits, the standard size baits, and you got to finesse them at times. If there's a nasty cold front that's coming through, whatever the conditions are, there comes a time when you do have to finesse, even in punching. And the BB Cricket by Gambler is one of my favorite little finesse punch baits. It's real simple. There's nothing to it. It's just got that crawfish profile. I've had good luck with the Green Pumpkin Shadow. It's been a really good color for me. The Baby Brush Hog is another one you can punch. Everybody knows what a Baby Brush Hog is. Green Pumpkin Purple is my favorite color. Green Pumpkin Blue. This gets a lot of bites when the fish are real hesitant. You know, like I said, sometimes they just don't. They don't want to bite. They've been hammered. The weather's off or something. And then the other one that I throw that's finesse is just the Speed Crawl. Straightforward. There we go. That's a nice fish. Nice punching fish. I think it's kind of beat up. Just gotta stay after it. Nice one. Well, this is the black red glitter. It's kind of like the neon, black neon or whatever, that color. With the D-bomb or the beaver, I like to use a 4/0 flipping hook. I prefer the one with the hard plastic keeper. This is a BMC Ike approved flipping hook. There's a lot of good hooks out there, but what I do prefer is this kind of keeper versus this. This is an owner jungle hook, and this hook is very stout. It's very sharp, very, very sharp, and it does not flex at all. But it's got that little nylon keeper. And the problem I find is that this really tears your bait up. Gamakatsu makes another one that's like that. It's got this little whatever you call it right here, just a little piece of mono right there tied on. Some of them are shrink wrapped. The shrink wrap will actually slide down the hook. The Gamakatsu has a little metal barb in there, but the shrink wrap will slide down the hook. So I tend to stay away from these. I've got a lot of them, but I prefer, you know, this kind. It seems to tear your plastic up less, and it holds up. You don't have the problem of this little keeper slipping down. When it comes to finesse punching, you're not going to want to use the 4/0 hook. You're going to want to drop down to a 3/0. Same kind of hook, like the VMC Ike approved hook, flipping hook, straight shank, but this hook matches up perfect with that little speed crawl and the cricket and the baby brush hog. So smaller bait, a little bit smaller hook, you're good to go. There he is. That's a good fish. Holy crap, look at that fish, guys. That is a freaking stud. Dude, I need that one. That's about a 6-pounder. Yeah, guys. Boom! Would you look at that? Would you just look at that? Would you look at that? Look at that fish, guys. God, that is a freaking toad. Oh my God. Just punching, man. I mean, I have not got any, well, I got one bite punching, but that's kind of what can happen, you know? You go and you go and you go, and no bites, and then all of a sudden you just flip it into the right little hole, and good God, that is a solid fish. Something else to consider when you're punching is the punch skirt. And the deal with the punch skirt is it's got a lot bigger profile. So here's your D-bomb, here's your punch skirt, put them together. It's got that big jig profile, but you're able to punch it in and out of the grass mats. I'm not sure about the exact science, but to me it seems like a 1-ounce punch rig falls about the same as a 3/4 ounce traditional Texas rig. So you're getting a little bit slower fall when you got that punch rig. That skirt just kind of catches a lot of water and slows it down. Sometimes they want that little bit slower fall. So let's rig one of these up real quick for you. Got bobber stops. You gotta have a bobber stop. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put a bobber stop on. I use 2, a lot of times I use 2. So I've already got one on there. I'm gonna put this other one on there. These are just, these are made by Halo. 6 Cents has some really good bobber stops. They're a little bit bigger. So I've got my 50-pound braid, and this will just have a little metal ring right there. You just slide it through, pull it on down the line. So there you go. That's the 6 Cents one, actually. Next, we're gonna take our weight. Just a 1-ounce tungsten. I like the black if you got it, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So this is what we're looking at right now. Then you're gonna take your punch skirt. So there's the front of the punch skirt, and you're just gonna thread it on. Thread it on down the line like this. So here's what we're looking at now. Now we're gonna take our 4/0 flipping hook, and we got our D-bomb. So the D-bomb's got a little place right there. If you fish a D-bomb, you're familiar with it. It's got a little spot. Basically, it's 4 ribs back. There's a little opening. That's where you want your hook to go through. So we're just gonna do that. Get that sitting like this, and I'm gonna be using the San Diego jam knot. So when you're using the San Diego jam knot, you want some weight on the hook just for swinging purposes. I'll show you that knot real quick. Just gonna run this line through here. Here we go, San Diego jam knot, guys. Got your line running through your hook. Bring your line up here and just pinch it. And you're just gonna swing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna go like 7 on this braid. 6 is fine. So you've got this loop on the top here. Just run your line back through that loop. This is what you're looking at now. Gonna wet it a little bit, kind of pull it up a little bit. I don't like to tighten it all the way up on braid. I want to slide it down on my hook. It seems to get kinky if you don't. And you just pull it. It's a great knot with any kind of line. We've got our tag line here. These are good scissors though from Academy. They're only like $5. They cut braid pretty good. These are kind of old, but they're still doing the job. So we're right here. Now we're just gonna run that little D-bomb up the hook onto that keeper. Slides up there, and we're just going to rig it up there like that. There we go. So let's look at this whole package. There's your punch rig. You're gonna slide your bobber stops down. There you go. Punch rig, straightforward. Hey guys, I hope this video gives you a little bit of confidence to get out there and do some punching. It's a great technique. When you find a nice grass mat, the way to find a nice grass mat is to listen for bluegill popping. If you're hearing the bluegill popping, there's a good chance that there's gonna be some bass in there. Look for little points, little holes in the grass, any kind of spot where the vegetation's coming together, any laydowns in the grass. Those are your high percentage areas. Just cover some water. You're gonna have to cover water, and you'll get a bite, and then you'll get another bite in a little small area. So that's an area where there's a little school of fish holding in that grass. It's a deal where you've got to put your head down, and you got to spend a couple hours and really cover some water before you can figure out the little areas that the fish are in. So subscribe to the channel if you have not. Please share it on social media. Really appreciate all the support. Until next time, get out there in the water and try this punching, man. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice fish. Really nice solid fish. Big fat fish. Just punching this grass. Trying to find some new areas. I think I found one. Got like 3 or 4 bites in here.